Well, welcome back to Hope Harbor Zoo, everyone. Hope you guys are all having the most wonderful of wonderful days. My name is Leaf, and it's so great to have you guys back over here for yet another speed build. Today, we are building our Siamang exhibit, which I put off for the longest time. So I was super excited to build for Siamangs. Just kidding, I was dreading it. I'm not good at primates, guys. I am awful at primate exhibits. I am nowhere near as good as Squatch, Wyatt, any of these people. But I tried my best with it. I tried my best to make it a little bit more interesting for my sake. And I think it turned out pretty good in the end, at least from the outside. So definitely two of the things I wanted to stand out in here were the brachiation frames, because what's the damn point of going to have the Siamangs in here if they can't brachiate? I know it's not the best, but I still wanted them to be able to brachiate. So that's kind of what I work with over there. And then I was like, okay, listen, I got to make a custom aviary for these guys, custom netting. Just because there's no other way I could have been able to make their habitat if it wasn't for a custom kind of habitat setup. So one of the things I do is kind of overlay these fences on each other, and I have them kind of leaning into each other, which kind of resulted in a little bit of jank, but I think I kind of ironed out most of the kinks in it. Mostly, but I think for the most part it does look pretty good in the end, just taking into account like all the curves in the habitat and whatnot. I think it was pretty fun. It was just a fun challenge, a fun exercise in terms of, habitat design and whatnot. So my main issues really stem from these little curved areas. But I think I kind of navigated them relatively well, so I was working with the angles that we had in here, and luckily I only used 15% angle curves as a way to help take into account, like, where I want the actual slopes to be. But it ended up pretty good in the end, so I'm using a mix of the those aren't concrete. Those are the art-shaped cylinders, which give a really beautiful kind of like shiny texture, which is kind of what I wanted out of these beams. I believe that aviary was originally made by Ginger Toast. Hanashobi Zoo, go check it out. Very awesome press room. I don't think there's anything in that damn press room. But yeah, I really also want to include some of my old climbing frames in here. So this one is from I believe that's Riverbend Discovery Center. So I include that one right in there just because it's probably the most easily able to be customized ones that I made. So I kind of mix it up with like a whole bunch of different bamboo in here just to make sure it's climbable and whatnot. So I include a few pieces like that in there, and I also get to work on the actual mesh work. God be with us, please. So, in case you guys are unfamiliar with my disdain towards mesh structures, I don't like building them. They're so complicated to actually make. I have a huge disdain towards them. They're so difficult to me. I can't process them in my mind. It just doesn't work, and it's not pretty. But I think this was probably the best way to get over my fear of them. Luckily, I'm not working with any organic shapes. I'm working strictly modular and on angles. So that actually relatively turned out to be something nice in the end. So I kind of work with all of these kind of shapes. I work with all of these different angles, and it looks pretty good in the end. I'm not really too concerned with the small pieces at the end of the habitat right over there, because I do end up covering those up with foliage. If something is going to be covered up, I'll just hide it. It's fine. Like, if those little gaps in there aren't able to be seen, then they're not there. There's no gaps. So I'm kind of subscribing myself to that mindset, which, speaking of subscribe, if you're not subscribed right now, you totally should be, especially to the hiding mindset. But no, I also wanted these mesh beams to be white as well. I really wanted it to be nice and bright when you're looking at this habitat, and I think it ends up looking pretty well once I actually do get all that in there. What I also do is add a whole bunch of foliage. So of course, with the Grasslands animal pack, we got a whole bunch of buffalo grass. These pieces are incredible to use. Just a really awesome foliage cover piece that I really do love using. It's just super awesome for these really, really densely foliaged areas, especially in Maine. You'll not exactly get buffalo grass, but you'll get a lot of grasses that really look like buffalo grass, or at least have the same colors, same texture, or at least same shape. I think all in all, it works pretty good, so I'm happy with it. I also add a few cross beams up here, just making sure that, you know, this structure would be able to support itself. I think later down the line, I do need to add, like, those support beams that extend outside of the habitat. I think I probably got to do that probably the next time I load into Hope Harbor Zoo. I think that's going to be one of my goals, just making sure I take into account those efforts of realism, just making sure that, you know, it all flows nicely and it all makes sense in the end. So that's probably the next thing I'll do. I don't know. But I do like the structure of this aviary. And I didn't do mesh on the top because I don't think it needs it. Like, I think mesh on the top just ruins the look of a habitat. And yes, technically, they'd be able to climb out, but also technically, if this were a real structure, it would have mesh on the top. So, ZSU staff, please don't get angry at me again. I'm just joking, of course. So, I also had a few bunch of foliages outside, using saltwort, using the, rose bushes, and also using the hedges just as a way to help this area feel a little bit more clean. I really do love using the hedges in the zoo because it helps it feel so much more clean, helps it feel like it's very well manicured, which is what I want Hope Harbor Zoo to be. I really want Hope Harbor Zoo to be just a very clean zoo when all is said and done, and I think that adding those small pieces throughout there really helps it stand out. I also add this golden bamboo from Nicholas Lion Rider's foliage pack. Just really awesome pieces just to help brighten up areas. I think those pieces were actually made by NDP, but still, just the two of them together, they make art, so it's really great to see. So also going throughout here and adding the custom curbing. Again, this is something I always like to do, showing off like the initial starts of it, just showing off what I'm doing at first, and then I'll probably make a cut in a few seconds just to say, okay, you guys saw what I was doing at first. You don't need to see any more. Custom curving is really just a little bit of a hassle for me. What you'll also see is a half-finished emu habitat. So I know that that episode came out before this one, but I recorded this one after I recorded that one, and it's coming out. Yeah, I'm losing it, guys, if you can't tell. But no, I was kind of in between speed builds, which I never do. But it was just like the situation of this point where I was like, okay, I just want to build for my Siamangs right now, get everything 100% on display. And I think it worked out pretty good because everything's on display in Hope Harbor Zoo right now, knock on wood. I'm making some more trades, so hopefully I will be building for a few more animals soon. But you'll see that coming up relatively soon, I guess. But yeah. Adding the Siamang climbing frames, once again, just to make sure that these guys are able to access those things. And they actually do break 8 on them, which is cool. I'm not sure why they showed up as black over there, but it's totally fine. I'm not really too concerned with that. Looks pretty good in the end, so I don't really care. Using the outback dead trees over there too, just to help the area feel a little bit more fleshed out, and give these guys just a little bit of more area to climb on. And it works out pretty good in the end. I don't know. I just feel like this habitat feels nice and full. And yeah, that's really all I care about. I'm just super happy that I got Siamangs in the first place. So these guys actually came to us from the National Parks event. I don't know. It was just a really fun event. I hope ZSU does that again this year in 2023, which I think this video should be out in. So that's kind of crazy. I recorded this video last year, guys. But no, that's something I really hope that happens again for ZSU. I miss the auctions. I miss the stores. I miss all of that jazz. But what I really do hope for is another big event kind of like that, where we have to work on education, where we have to work on research and stuff, because that's the kind of stuff that I loved about ZSU back in the day. It's just really working on a lot more personalized stuff, and I hope staff is listening, and hope staffs take this into account, that I love these small events, then I also love the big ones. So if you guys give us something big to work towards, even if it's over the course of an entire year or something, I don't know, I feel like that'd be super fun. Now, talking about decorations in here, I realize I haven't been doing too much like theming in this area, and I really do want to bring that up just a little bit more, but for the most part I keep it relatively basic in here, just in case if I do want to transfer this over to like something else, maybe turn that into an aviary and move the Siamang somewhere else. I'm not really sure, but that's what we have working on in there. And I also include these little Siamang signs kind of brachiating across the way throughout there because I thought that was super cute to do. And I have a few lion signs in here as well, just to help illuminate the area a little bit. We're talking more about the future of Island of Colors Sumatra area, as well as like, you know, the tropical house I really do want to get a few more smaller island species. So I do want to get more tropical squirrels. I really do want to get like tree shrews, would be a really fun pick. I think those guys are from Southeast Asia. I could be wrong. I think they are actually, so that should work out well. But no, I really also want to get like a few more bears. I want to get sloth bears eventually. I feel like those would be a really fun species to get. Especially considering that they're from like Asia, mostly India and stuff, but I feel like that would work out as a nice introductory species, or maybe I could throw them somewhere else in the zoo, I'm not really sure. Clouded leopard is one I really want to get, so I think that's going to be the next big cat I kind of aim for. But yeah, you know what, we'll talk more about that in the next episode. I didn't realize this was going to be over so quick. Thank you guys so much for watching. You guys are always the best. Hope you guys enjoyed this little video. I'm happy that you guys are now able to know that Hope Harbor Zoo is 100% on display. Very fun to have that. You guys should donate me stuff as a joke, just so I don't have everything on display. Wouldn't that be so funny? Ha ha ha. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. You guys are the best. Be sure to take a look at the other videos in the Hope Harbor Zoo series, and I can't wait to see you all in the next one. Take care, and bye-bye.